How do you sell something as simple as running? How do you convince people that running isn't just a workout, but something more beautiful, something easy? It sounds straightforward, right? But Nike faced this very challenge when they approached Wade and Kennedy, an agency based in Portland, Oregon. They wanted to promote a new line of running shoes, the ones worn by a marathon legend, Eliud Kipchoge. But it wasn't just about the shoes. They needed to convince people that running itself was something magical. Now, before we dive deep into this, let me introduce myself. My name is Aduro. I'm a midwife/nurse who has turned into a creative designer. And I've been in the creative and branding industry for the last half a decade. During my time in the creative industry, I've gotten a chance to work on campaigns with some of the top brands in my country. And I've also seen some incredible campaigns, whether it be locally or internationally. So I want to create this sort of series to go behind the scenes of successful campaigns, to understand the how and why were these campaigns successful. So if there's something that you're really into, let's tag along. As a designer, I'm always looking for new ways to get inspired. And among the ways that I use to get inspired is to look at what's around me and what other people have done in the past or currently. So there was this day I was scrolling through Pinterest and I landed upon this campaign. The colors, the vibes, angles, typography, everything was just on point. It was different. And I just knew I had to find a way to dive deeper into this, to see, did the actual campaign really hit it off with the intended person? So that's how we got started. But before we proceed, let's zoom out for a second and talk about what actually is a campaign. Well, at its core, a campaign is a story. It starts with a problem, then a strategy, and finally a solution. It's simple, right? But a great campaign does more. It connects with people on a deeper level. It taps into a truth, tells a story, and then it inspires action. Adidas has owned Berlin Marathon for years. This is among the fastest running courses in the world. World records are being set, shattered. Blood, sweat, and tears are being thrown from this course. So during the time of the event, Adidas 3 stripes dominate every beep, billboard, and street of Berlin. But Nike knew this, and when they stormed in, they came up with something different. They partnered with Eliud Kipchoge and Wade and Kennedy to create this surreal ad called The Beautiful Run. The ad showed a runner sleeping on Kipchoge's sunglasses. Suddenly, through the Kipchoge's vision, the grueling streets of Berlin transformed sweat, pain, even exhaustion turned into something beautiful. Risky? Absolutely. It could have definitely been dismissed as shameless ambush marketing, hijacking Adidas' big stage. But Nike decided not to fight with logos. They fought with emotion. And it worked. The message is that even through the hardship of running, people still see it as something beautiful that cut deeper than any sponsorship would. Okay, the fun part. Now this is a segment in which I show you guys how I think Wade and Kennedy brought this vision to life. You see me experimenting with type, textures, and a bit of motion to really capture that surreal vibe that was present in the original campaign. It's not going to be exactly one-on-one replica, but it's just to give you guys the gist of the idea of how I think they approached this campaign. Without further ado, let's get to it. Now, as always, the first thing first, we have to separate the player from the background. Now, I know there's all this AI stuff, but still, I use pen tool for accuracy. To spare you the details, I just fast forward this part. Then I started working on the shoes. The exact shoes that he was wearing, because this is just a stock image, were not Nike. So I just surfed on the web and then had to choose the Nike shoes, which I thought were dope. These one were Kylian Mbappe edition. So I just like them, and I had to mess up with them to find the correct angle, and yeah, I just did my magic, you know. Then, after everything was said and done regarding his appearance, I started working on the background. For this background, because he is a football player, I just chose to have a field with mountains and, you know, like a very beautiful sky. But on the ground, I replace it with an actual football field, which I also, again, manipulated. But that was, I mean, to get the exact feel of the original campaign. So this is how I actually did it. Many tries later and a couple of Photoshop crashes, the image was finally starting to come around. So I reversed his jersey's color and everything. I just gave them, I used hue saturation to give them different tints. And then I worked on the shadows. And finally, this is how the results turned around. For my results with the actual campaign, there's a big difference. But again, as I told you earlier, this was not one-to-one replication, but just to give you guys the idea of how I think this worked. All in all, you have to play with the hue and saturation and try to give the image a lot of contrast to really show that difference and the boldness in colors. And I think I could just play around with this more in the camera raw filter, but I don't know, man. I think for now, they just look fine. Finally, let's talk about the results. Did the campaign really reach the intended audience? Did it generate enough buzz for it to be called successful? Well, unfortunately, we'll never know because throughout my research for this video, I wasn't able to find a particular legitimate result from the campaign. All they said from the website was check back later for results or something. But if there's one thing that I've learned throughout this whole ordeal is that it doesn't really matter who the main sponsor of the event is. As long as you and your company genuinely believe in your product, you can definitely cut across all the noise and sometimes even shadow the main sponsor of the event. And throughout these instances is why I started my own agency. This agency deals with branding in general. So whether you want your campaign done or you want to revamp your identity or you want to create one from scratch, then you can definitely consider checking us out. I'll put the link in the description below. And that's a wrap for today's episode of The Art of the Campaign. I genuinely hope you've learned a thing or two in how a successful campaign is being brought about from the ground up, if you're calling this campaign successful. So For all the marketers out there, share this video with your friend who you might know would benefit from in one way or another. And definitely subscribe because so many episodes are coming the next week. Other than that, peace.